Everyone. So, for the I think it's starting to die down a little bit, but it's still out there. There's this for the last, I guess the last almost 30 years, there's been this spiritual idea floating around, and people are finally starting to see through it. This idea, there's nothing for you to do. You are that already. You are consciousness. You are enlightened. There's nothing to do. There's these teachers who go around teaching that, generally charging good money for it, telling people they don't need to do anything because they already are consciousness. They already are freedom. They're already enlightened. This is a very important topic to spend a little time reflecting on. So, half of what is being said is true. Our nature, whether you call it the kingdom of God, the Buddha nature, true self, is underneath it all, we are already at peace. We always have been and we always will be. And I'm speaking from my direct experience and from, it's almost been now 3 decades of studying non-duality. It's really true. There is a part of us, which I would say is actually our true self, that's always at peace, that cannot be disturbed, that's underneath all the problems, all the upsets, all the worries. You can verify this in your own experience. Whenever there's an upset, you can just ask who or what is aware of that upset. And with some practice, and it's helpful to have some guidance on this, but some people, just reading a little or hearing a video can experience this on their own. There's a witness. There's a silent witness that's always aware of whatever, however deep the suffering is. There's something that's aware of it, and that something is at peace. So when teachers say, there's nothing to do, you are that, they're half right. Now, they're half right about what you are, what we all are, the truth. Now, about this, there's nothing to do. One of the great non-dual teachers of all time, Ramana Maharshi, said there's 3 classes of spiritual aspirants. There are those who hear the truth, which I just conveyed in a very short version, but hear the truth and instantly awaken, effortlessly awaken. There are those who hear it and upon some reflection, awaken almost effortlessly, just some reflection. And there are those who, upon hearing the truth, require years of strenuous effort to realize it. So any teacher who tells a group of people, there's nothing to do, isn't really conveying the truth. Okay, they're conveying the truth. Now, a really awake teacher who can just tune in to an individual student or an individual aspirant can say and will say to certain people, there's nothing for you to do. You are that. You are at peace. You always have been and you always will be. And that person would just awaken. But it takes a very skilled teacher to discern who to speak that teaching to. So be very careful when you hear someone make blanket statements. That's the telltale sign. A blanket statement of no requirement, of no effort for anyone. Get the hell out of there. It's someone teaching a distorted teaching. That for certain individuals, they'll hear that and they'll be done. For the majority of people, it requires some deep contemplation and some deep effort. This was all taught to me very explicitly when here in the very town that I live in, this guy traveled across the seas to spend some time with this guru, this kind of well-known teacher, and he came back and he had awakened. And he started, and what he heard from this teacher was, there's nothing to do. You are that. This teacher was adamant. No meditation, no effort, no da-da-da. You are that. And this guy was like, oh my God, this guy had, the person who had the awakening had been on the journey for like 25 plus years. I was like, oh my God, I've been studying, I've been meditating, I've been going to retreats. I don't have to do anything. I am that. He was so happy and so just, and so he started teaching and he wrote a bunch of books. He developed quite a following. And even to this day, people quote his books and, oh, he's so great, man. He's so, he's so direct. He points so clearly to the truth. And I went to many of his gatherings, and something just felt off, because this person, he just talked the whole time. There was like no pauses. Someone would ask one question, he would just talk for nonstop for 10 minutes. And I started to have this feeling like, this just seems like a church, where you go and you just repeat the truth over and over again, and you disagree with anything that contradicts it. And then eventually this person recognized actually that he hadn't had an awakening. He just had taken on a belief system. And he took down his website. He pulled all of his books from publication. He stopped teaching, and he started spending time with a classical teacher. Many, many people believed in him and believed in his message. And I'm sure some people woke up from it, because some people, according to Ramana Maharshi, and this, I don't believe Ramana originated that idea. Some people are ripe, and all they need is a direct pointer. You are consciousness. You're the wisdom that observes everything. They just need to hear that once and they're done. But that's not most people. And to take, to take the needs of certain really ripe souls and assume that's the case for everyone, it's a mess. And it's one of the reasons that the modern satsang culture is a mess, and it seems to be sort of falling apart right now. People are finally starting to figure out that that's just bullshit. There's no other word for it, or partial truth or distorted truth. So, and I'm sure that this person meant well, and this is a good person. I got to know him. He's a good guy. He just fell into a belief system. So, it's true. You, the true you, need do nothing. What we are is effortless being. And if that's not apparent, then some retraining of the mind is necessary, whether it be self-inquiry as Ramana taught, the classic system of karma bhakti, and then jnana yoga as it teaches in the Bhagavad Gita, or the Course in Miracles, are some of my favorite. But it's kind of like fast food spirituality. There's a reason why it landed so big in the West, because we want efficiency and we want it now. And partially because it has truth in it. It's just a distortion of the truth. So friends, reflect. If this is your first time hearing this message, reflect deeply on it. You might be one of the ripe souls that really doesn't require a lot of effort. And if you're not one of those, then find a teacher that you really trust who can guide you on this path. Blessings, or a teaching, but it really has to come from a higher power. Of ourselves, we can't liberate ourselves. That's just part of how the gig works. Wish you so much love. You who already are love. I wish you so much grace in the recognition of that.